As many of you know, I came to Common Ground a little over a year ago. In fact, November was a year for me. One of the things that drew me to Common Ground was the website. And on the website listed the things that Common Ground believes in and that they teach. And almost every single one of them really touched me very deeply, and they resonated with me. And today I'm going to share with you my interpretation of our truths. Our first truth is there is one power and one presence in the universe. Throughout history, this has been called by many names, and it's been imagined in many forms. For me, I've always referred to it as God. God has always been a singular as well as a plural representation of the one power and one presence for me. Our second truth, that one power and one presence is known by many names and is sought through many paths. Whether you call it God, Allah, Yahweh, the Great Spirit, we are all instinctively following the same paths. We are praying to, believing in the same energy. Doesn't matter what name I give it, it's all the same. And what I find very interesting about this is throughout history, we've all been praying to the same energy without even knowing it. Okay, God is all and all is God. Nothing created is created without God. God is in all things and in all thoughts. Ever present, this energy and power is the cornerstone of all that is, all that was, and all that will ever be. There cannot be, for me, creation without God. All creation is born into original blessing, pure, innocent, and whole. One of the most beautiful concepts that I've ever contemplated. To understand this concept, I needed to understand my relationship with this one power. If I believed that there is only one power and one presence, which I do, and I believe that this one power and one presence is perfect in every way, which again I do, then it stands to reason that I was born perfect as I am. I have been given every tool I need to journey through this life. I have been given no more and no less than I can handle. As a creation of God and as a part of that God, I could be no less than perfect and blessed. For that which is created by God is created perfectly. God is love at the highest level, and as love, there could be nothing less than blessing. All creation is divine. Everything is a part of the whole creation. As I have already stated, I truly believe that every creation, physical as well as mental, is created by God. Since I'm a creation of God, my thoughts and dreams are creations of the God part of me. Everything that could be is divine. Everything that was is divine. And all that is must also be divine. How I perceive it, how I react to it, changes only my perception, not divinity itself. All human experience is a spiritual journey. I am either learning a spiritual lesson, part of someone else learning a spiritual lesson, or I'm the lesson itself. As part of the one power and the one presence in the universe, every action, every experience, and every lesson could not be anything but spiritual. Everything I do leads me home, back to the center of the universe, back to God. The purpose of human experience is to realize a oneness with God. I am one with God. I never separated from God. And even when I think I'm on my own, when I think it's possible to turn away from God, I know inside that it's impossible to be separated from myself. I am a part of God and God is part of me. As an expression of God, I cannot be separated from God or myself. To me, God is not some unobtainable deity. My connection with and to God cannot be cut or interrupted. I can, and I often choose to ignore, even argue. Yet once I remember my oneness, I cannot unremember. The perceptions we hold determine our experience in the moment. No concept could ever have rung truer for me than this one. We're told to live in the now. Not yesterday and not tomorrow, but now. I have for the most of my life projected my perceptions of life and events onto people around me, known and unknown. Based on these perceptions, my experiences would be exactly what I expected them to be. If I perceive total strangers' mood to be antagonistic or negative, my experience at that moment would be colored by this perception. If I choose to be happy and I perceive this moment to be happy, then I am happy. Prayer is conscious contact with God. When I pray, this is a conscious act. Which I have opened the lines of communication between God and me. While all thoughts and actions are prayer, as I've discussed, there are times when my prayers are active and conscious, and other times when they're not. In all cases, it is a direct line to the one power and one presence. God is always on the other end of the line. God will always answer. I don't always like the answer. I don't often understand the answer. But no matter what, I know that God is ever present, and since God is ever present, I'm never alone. All action and thought are prayer. For me, this represents the power of attraction. Attraction is energy. Thought is energy. And energy attracts. That to which I give the most energy is what will be attracted into my life. Through my actions and thoughts, I am requesting certain events and outcomes to enter my life. Through my actions and much like ordering a product online, I do not always know what I'm going to get or how well that product will enhance or better my life. Sometimes when I'm praying, it's sort of a crapshoot as to what's going to happen. A quiet mind supports prayer, meditation, and mindfulness. Okay? There are many stresses in my life. The constant mental clutter and chatter keeps me from expressing the truths I know to be true for me. And while every thought in action is prayer, not every thought is directed prayer. I often attract to me those things which are not for my highest and best good simply because I do not take the time to quiet my mind. Through conscious and directed prayer or meditation, I can return to center, commune with God or Spirit, and allow the oneness of the one power and one presence to be expressed in my life. Only when I enter the stillness am I able to consciously return to Source. Focused meditation and prayer come from me being able to embrace the stillness of my mind. There is abundance in the universe to which everyone is equally entitled. If I lack something in my life, it's because I believe I don't deserve it. Regardless of how much of something someone else has, it does not mean that what I need or even what I want is not available. It is only when my perception is focused on lack rather than abundance. Belief and knowing manifest that which already exists, and only waiting for me to recognize and accept that which I already have. We demonstrate our oneness and union with God by active practice of spiritual truth in our everyday lives. So it's not enough for me to talk the talk. I literally have to walk the walk. Every day I'm presented with opportunities to be one with God or one with ego. While embracing my humanity, I often forget to express my own divinity. My personal beliefs guide me in most of my actions. I dedicate a part of each day in some form of spiritual practice, be it meditation, prayer, yoga, or simply finding a moment to be grateful for all that I have and all that I've been blessed with. As I have focused more on my spiritual path, I have changed my priorities. Where once I said I was too busy to meditate, I now make time for what is important to me. Through these daily and weekly practices, I have been able to return to center. I make conscious choices rather than automatic responses. My oneness with God is present for most to see, not because I've attained a higher level of understanding, and not because I've climbed some mountain that I once simply looked upon in awe, but rather because I make a conscious choice to live a life where my choices are made based on my desire to walk with God with that one presence. Thank you very much.
What a beautiful, loving community we have here. And that's what life is all about, right? Being together, connecting. That's what we do here. I want to say that I'm intrigued and a little baffled, may I say, when somebody will say, my religion is the only one. You've all heard that, huh? It would make a lot more sense to me if people would say, it's the only true religion for me. Wouldn't that make more sense? Common Ground was founded on the idea that we were all created equally. Kind of sounds like the Constitution, right? It was founded on the idea that everyone has access and blessings from the one. Whether we call it God or Allah or Yahweh or George, right? It doesn't matter what we call it. Nathan did a beautiful job sharing this morning our truths about that, reiterating the idea that we are all one, that we are all the same, that no one is more blessed or more favored than anyone else. The truth is larger than that, isn't it? I'm preaching to the choir, I know that, because you all get that. You all understand that. And just as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so are belief systems and religions. Those are in the heart of the believer, aren't they? And we should always honor that, because our faith, our belief system, is as dear to us as anything else. Religion, belief system, is like your mother. Now, stay with me. Just for a moment, because no matter what anyone else says, no matter what anyone else tells you, your mother is dear to you. No matter what, we have her back. I can say what I want about my mother. I, right? But don't you dare. Isn't that the truth? The way we find balance and peace and tranquility is through whatever path is perfect for us. We do that by faith, by our belief system. And faith is simply how we feel about something. It's not logic, it's not mathematics, it's certainly not factual. It's simply and purely faith. And it's beautiful to have something to fall back on, to look at, and to say, this is what I believe, this is my truth. Religion in the simplest form, in the simplest term, is an instrument that was created to bring that balance, that peace of mind, that hope, and that energy to have that good, productive life. To feel good about waking up in the morning and who you are and what you do and who you share that with. Religion is certainly not meant to belittle anybody. It's a positive experience. And we, through that, appreciate that God-given uniqueness of each and every single one of us. And by the way, as an FYI, God has not signed a deal with any particular religion behind our back. Okay? I just want you to know that it's all good. It's all okay. Now here at Common Ground, we teach diversity, culturally and religiously, and whatever ali that you can think of, right? Because we teach all of it. We teach to honor all of it. Our world is moving more and more toward recognizing the significance of the oneness, of all of us being the same, from the same source, one human family. And you'll find, at least in the United States, perhaps around the world, people of different faiths, cultures, ethnicities, races, nationalities, social backgrounds, all those people are working together, eating together, playing together, marrying each other, having children together. Talk about oneness. Maybe at some point, this is my hope, we won't have any of those little boxes on there that says check here, right? What ethnicity are you? What race are you? Who cares? I'm a human family. That's the human race, is it not? And I really believe absolutely that we are moving toward that place. And that's why it's so important for us to recognize and know that if we live with people, around people, and we pretty much all do, right? It's important that we respect others' beliefs as much as we want them to respect ours, to respect who we are, what we believe, and how we feel about life. One thing we talk about here is ecumenism, and that simply means a movement to promote worldwide unity among religions through greater cooperation and improved understanding. And that begins with a tolerant perspective of other belief systems, where we create a common space to celebrate life. And we do a lot of that here, don't we? Just celebrate being here, being who we are, embracing humanity, expressing divinity. It's about celebrating life and that short time, really, that we're here and that we get to share it. The interfaith movement, which I'm very proud to be a part of, strives for greater mutual respect, tolerance, and cooperation among all the traditions. And I personally think that is very valuable, very, very important. Ecumenical dialogue is one of the most important developments, I believe, in the world, and, God willing, in our religious history. Someday I want to be able to look back and go, wow, we were part of that history. Well, we are, actually. It's current, but it will be next week history, right? If we want to get technical. This type of dialogue has the power to create true cooperation of hearts. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to agree on anything, actually. We just need to respect, recognize, and honor the idea that we are truly indeed a human family united by love. And isn't that the bottom line truth? As we understand that truth and we see ourselves as we were created to be, we can also then see that in everyone else. See that they are that too, without exception. Every single being is a highly favored work of creation, a slice of perfection. And we're all equipped, empowered, and strong to be able to do, be, and have whatever life calls for in the moment. We are each and all a unique manifestation of the divine. We are one single, unique light, yet we are all one light. The Baha'i faith tells us this: the holy manifestations of God were sent down to make visible the oneness of humanity. Isn't that great? Maybe that's what we're here to do. That's it. Recognize our oneness. Recognize that we are one human family, bound together by that love. So, then, our work is to open up to who we are, to return to our most basic selves, to return to whatever is simple and essential, basic to life, to the basic goodness of humanity. And darn if we didn't experience that this week. The basic goodness of humanity. We want to return to that basic connection of human touch, of communication, open communication, kind communication, to understanding each other, to recognize what is real, and to live that reality in our own lives. Maya Angelou reminds us that while I know myself as a creation of God, I am also obligated to realize and remember that everyone else and everything else are also God's creation. Sometimes we forget that, don't we? In the simplicity of our human values, of that love, that joy, and the compassion, we're all connected to what is real. And we discover that connection, we rediscover that connection as we return to the simple core of being. We only fully understand ourselves by learning to embrace and to understand others. We can't really understand the whole without understanding the parts. And we do that through our heart. As we live through the potential of our heart, we see individuals, groups, communities like ours expanding and growing and connecting and becoming the norm. How awesome would that be? And we want to hold that vision of this becoming the norm, shifting the way that people see the world, shifting the way that they see their world, opening it up instead of keeping it closed. When we keep life simple and basic, it becomes instinctive for us to express our true nature. And in that simplicity is where we remember who we are. That love is our religion. And we share at that point, without conscious thought, our divine potential, our divine power. As we reconnect with those basic qualities of love and joy and compassion, we're reconnecting to that divine that lies within. Now, I know a lot of what I'm talking about, as I said, I'm preaching to the choir. Oh, I don't like that word, preach. But you know what I mean. And the reason that I really wanted to bring all this up, too, is because we have our covenant fellowship coming up. Probably next month. And I really wanted to talk so much about who we are, what we believe, what our truth is, and how open that is, which, again, Nathan did a really nice job of doing. We use the metaphor during our covenant of Indra's net because it has all the attributes that we talk about, that we teach here at Common Ground. This is our Indra's net, if you didn't know what it was or you were wondering. And there's a story of Indra's net right here. And I'm going to so you're welcome after service to come on up, look at that if you haven't seen it and been wondering what it was. I am going to share the story of Indra's net with you. Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung by some clever artist in such a manner that it stretches out indefinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant tastes of the deities, the artist has hung a single glittering jewel at the net's every node. And since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels, glittering like stars of the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we discover that in its polished surface, there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that the process of reflection is infinite. We're all one. I affect you, you affect me. And I really love that idea. It's a profound metaphor of the structure of reality. At each crossing point, there's a jewel. And they are each clear, reflecting all the other jewels. And it's kind of like two mirrors facing each other. And they reflect whatever object is in there endlessly. And each jewel in this metaphor stands for an individual being or an individual consciousness. And since each jewel is intimately connected with all the other jewels, a change in one means a change, however slight, in every other jewel. I love that idea. So, I say, where's Jean? Because she's a jewel in our net, is she not? Covenant, if you're not sure what that is, if you're unclear what that is our version of membership. I say that in quotes because we don't have a membership. If it's something you're interested in learning about, great. Certainly not a requirement of any kind. Covenant partners, raise your hands just in case anyone has questions. See, they all come back. So it's not that scary. If you have any questions, you can go online. You can talk to one of our partners. It's just about committing to that deep ecumenism and honoring all paths to God. Indra's net symbolizes how everyone in the universe is connected to and reflected by another. And when we truly embrace who we are, that divine manifestation of the one, we then can embrace others in that same light. That's the mission of Common Ground Corona, to embrace our own humanity as well as the humanity of all others, and to express our divinity and to absolutely share that love with everyone. Thank you so much for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.